Empire.
Hello and welcome to my podcast. Do me a favor, subscribe to the John Conn Report wherever you get your podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, that subscribe button. You can find us there as part of Empire Media. That's A-M-P-I-R-E. Always much appreciated when you tune in. And don't forget, you can always read my work on ESPN.com. Today, I'm joined by former Washington Redskins fullback Mike Sellers. I'm sure you're aware of the health situation and the major health scares that he had over the last 7 or 8 months. Mike underwent heart transplant surgery in April. He now looks like and sounds like he's doing very well. So all things are good for Mike. I wanted to bring him on to talk about his experience and all the procedures he had to go through and just how obviously scary and frightening this was for him, for his family, and just where he's at now with everything. And I also, there was a GoFundMe that was started for him back in the wintertime. And I do remember some people kind of commenting like, why is it that a former player needs this? Don't they get free insurance? They don't get it for life. And Mike explains when that ran out for him. And there's a lot of medical debt for him. So anyways, want to bring on Mike to just kind of talk to the fans and let them know, get an update on how he's doing. And again, looks like he's doing very well, which is very, very great to see. So here's my conversation with former Washington Redskins fullback Mike Sellers. Will Jaden Daniels climb to the top of the NFC East? Will the Commanders zip past the competition? We'll have to wait until the season starts to see, but you can get a head start on the competition this summer at the Adventure Park at Sandy Spring. Named the #1 aerial adventure park in North America by USA Today, the country's largest ropes course and zipline park is now open 7 days a week. Located in the heart of Montgomery County, Maryland, the Adventure Park offers climbing, ziplining, axe throwing, food, and more. Experience adventure day or night with your family, or leave the kids at home for one of the exclusive Keep It Lit adult-only events. These summer date nights are perfect, featuring glow lights, music, fire pits, and endless adventure. With challenges anywhere from beginner to expert, there is something for all skill levels. Not looking to scramble through the trees? Keep your feet planted in the pocket and throw a perfect spiral at axe throwing. You can throw at traditional targets or play any number of interactive games. You can even upload your own image. Anytime you're thinking about reaching new heights, make sure you know before you go. The Adventure Park at Sandy Spring is the only ACCT accredited park in Maryland or Virginia. So there you have it, folks. The best climbing, ziplining, and axe throwing in the country right here in the DMV. Reserve your adventure today at www.theadventurepark.com/Kime. First of all, Mike, it's really, really, really good to see you. And I got to say, for somebody who's gone through all the stuff you've gone through over the last so many years, you look pretty good. How are you feeling?
As of now, I'm feeling great. I couldn't have said that a few months ago, but as of right now, man, I feel good. I got a new lease on life, literally.
Yeah, and I don't even know where to begin with this, but when did all this stuff, because you went through, first of all, you had the heart transplant. Was it in April?
Yeah, April 24th.
And how many, you had a number of treatments before then, correct?
I went into surgery 21 times before my heart transplant.
Holy crap. When did this start? Like, what happened? When did this all start?
Well, I'm a workout fiend. I love to work out. And, I started getting tired for no reason. I'd come home from work. I just wouldn't have any energy. And, just couldn't figure it out what it was. So I did an Under Armour camp one weekend. I came home and I had a drink. And come to find out, I had a blood clot in my spleen. So I went into the hospital for a blood clot in my spleen and ended up in the ICU. They checked me in the ICU, talking about it's more than your spleen. Yeah, you had a blood clot in your spleen, but I went into VTAC. So my irregular heartbeat, and it wasn't beating the way it was supposed to. My heart was working like at 20%. And I'm thinking to myself, a guy that works out pretty much every day, how is this happening to me? But yeah, man, come to find out I was having heart failure.
When did it, was this, how long ago did this, how long ago was this that started?
Started in November. I didn't, I went into the hospital, had a procedure done, had a defibrillator implanted into my chest and see if that would help, with my heart. And it just seemed to get worse. So in January, I went into the hospital. I remember the first few days of being checked into the hospital, but 3 months of that time that I was in the hospital, I don't remember anything.
Really?
Yeah.
My
They
goodness.
had they'd put me to sleep. I mean, I was so drugged up. I see videos. My wife was there every day with me in the
Yeah.
hospital. And she showed me videos, and I'm like, I don't even remember playing catch with my son. He's in the room visiting me, and I'm playing catch with a little softball. I don't even remember that. So, I
Really?
mean, yeah.
What was, and first of all, you're still coaching when all this is starting, correct? Because you're coaching down in Florida. So this was all going on. It's IMG you're at, right?
Right, right.
Yeah. So you were coaching while you were going through this, right? Initially.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on it, it wasn't the smartest thing to do because I knew there was something wrong with me. I was dedicated to my boys, and I just couldn't let them down. So I finished out the season, ended up in the hospital.
Was there, when you said you came home and what you're tired, you had a drink, was there like did something happen that you had to go to the hospital after that? Like what caused you to go to the hospital?
Well, the blood clot in my spleen, I thought I had a bad stomach ache or stomach
Okay.
virus. And come to find out, it wasn't just my spleen, it was my heart.
When you hear that, I mean, again, like you're a workout fiend. I don't, there aren't many guys that I've covered who I would say are in better physical shape than you were, right? So when you hear that, what does that sound like? What does it feel like to hear that?
Well, disbelief, you eat all the right things, you work out, you do your cardio for things like this, so it doesn't happen. At life after footballs, you're not running around, so you got to find other ways to stay in shape. And I was just in disbelief that this can't be happening to me, the way I take care of myself and the food I eat and stuff like that. But it happened.
So, first of all, how's your wife? Because and your kids, like that had to be, it would be very, very tough for them to see what you have to go through. What was that like for them?
My my wife is a soldier. She's an athlete. She doesn't wear her emotions on her sleeve. I know she went through hell. She was, like I said, she quit her job
Right.
to come to the hospital and stay with me every day. So she didn't miss a day. She was my rock. She did everything for me that a wife could do. My kids, it was hard on them, especially in school. It was hard for them to concentrate.
Sure.
Seeing their big strong dad in the hospital, you know, it was hard.
What what was it like that? Or first of all, like you said, you had 21 procedures between the time you got in and before the transplant.
Right.
I can't imagine what that does to your body and what that's like. Well, what was it just, were they trying to prevent having to do a heart transplant or what were they doing during that time?
They were every avenue to keep my heart in me. And I mean, it just got to the point where I was on this machine where I totally just bypassed my heart and went straight to this machine. I was hooked up to this machine for, I would say, at least 2.5 months. And it acted as my heart.
Wow.
Yeah.
How, when you talk about it now, how scary is it to think about all this?
It's hard to explain if you've never been through it.
Yeah.
There's not much in life that's ever scared me. And the thought of me not being around my wife and kids, that was probably the most scariest part, you know. But it's hard. I mean, especially knowing that you have to have an open heart surgery. And while I was in the hospital, I didn't even tell you this. While I was in the hospital, I flatlined twice.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think you were able to pull through?
The funny thing about it is that we're talking about me lifting weights and being in shape. They told me if I wasn't in the shape that I was in, I shouldn't have made it as long as I did.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's thank God for that, right? I mean, that's, but so then you have all that, and then you have the heart transplant surgery. And I saw the pictures of when you were released. What do you remember? And there were a lot of people there when you were getting released. What do you remember about that day, that moment?
Well, when you spend, I think it was a total of, I think 16 weeks
Yeah.
in the hospital. Like I said, I don't remember a lot of the stuff that's going in the hospital, but apparently, you make friendships with a lot of the nurses, and you're around them every day. They see the changes you go through, they see the hardships you go through, and you develop some great relationships. And I was surprised that they did that. To be honest with you, I was kind of shocked.
It's pretty cool though to see how many people were there. That had to be very, I mean, an incredible moment, because for a lot of reasons, but to see all the people there and to know that you're finally being released after all this, like, I would just think it'd be overwhelming.
Man, I busted my butt to get on that transplant list. A lot of my rehab and stuff like that, I was going above and beyond what I was supposed to do. I had to make these doctors see that I deserved it. So yeah, it's been a long journey.
So to get on that list, did you have to get to a certain, what requirements did you have to meet that you then decide, kind of had to push toward that? What requirements were there?
I mean, physical requirements, the mental part of it. Do I even care? Some people they say people just like let me die. I wasn't one of those people. Um, just my willingness to fight, to do whatever it took for me to get out the hospital. And God bless me, they put me first on the transplant list, and I waited 9 days.
Wow. So how much this, I don't want to sound trite about this, but because you've trained your whole life, how much did that help you just in terms of the mentality in the football and the mentality that you had to have to go from that, to get on that, to the top of that list?
I mean, it's just like when I played football. I came in playing football at 19 years of age in the CFL. I had to kick, bite, and scratch for everything I've ever had. So it wasn't nothing new for me. It's just another obstacle in my way that I had to over take over. And my wife used to always joke to me. She says, "You love a challenge, don't you?" She said, "But I don't need no more of these challenges."
No, this was like the ultimate challenge. But so what things could you do? Because I would imagine that after spending that much time in the hospital, and then you have to get a transplant, you probably don't have a lot of energy or strength. So what do you do to get that?
Well, the thing about it is I was in the bed for so long that I had so much atrophy. I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to feed myself. I couldn't even hold a fork. And it's a process. It's just that never give up mentality that I've always had is, fight through it, do what you got to do. You can't be defeated. And I just push through it.
Do you, when you're doing that, are you thinking like you're training for football, or do you think how do you process that? Are you like, hey, I got to get this hard, or you try to boil it down to some more simplistic terms, I guess?
No, basically I'm training for life. I want to live. You do what you got to do.
How do you guys, like, when you get out of the hospital, what's it been like for you since then? Because again, you look good. What's it been like for you since then? And what are some things how has it changed you, maybe, or has it?
The support I've gotten from my wife is, you can't even measure it. Times when I don't want to do something, she got me up to do it. My physical therapy, I've been doing my own physical therapy, which has helped me a lot. I've trained a lot of athletes, bodybuilders and stuff like that, so I'm real familiar with the body. So I just been rehabbing myself and eating the right foods, and just getting as much rest as I could possibly get, and taking care of myself.
Have you had to change anything? Because like you're a guy that's always been in shape. So like, did you have to change anything at all? Or is it about kind of what you have been doing just with a new heart?
Basically, yeah. I mean, I don't drink anymore. Alcohol, obviously. I don't drink anymore. There's certain foods I can't eat. I take probably about 35, 40 pills a day. I mean, there's a regimen I go through to stay normal, but I feel as of right now today, I feel normal.
Good.
I don't feel like I was the person that had open heart surgery. Yeah, is my strength not there? Am I still a little weak compared to where I used to be? Yeah, I mean, in the hospital, I lost over 80 pounds. I mean, everybody was teasing me. They said, Mike, you look tall. I said, no, I'm just skinny. Um, but
So
uh,
what are
but
you able to do now? And, what are the restrictions that you have as far as physical activity or anything?
I can go to the gym and work out. Anything lower body, I'm fine. Just my upper body, I gotta, wait for my chest to heal. So it's gonna take 6 months before I can really get back to an upper body workout. So anything that puts strain on my chest, I can't do. So I gotta find ways to work around that. But that's not too hard, being that I'm a gym rat. I know pretty
Right.
much every type of lift there is to do. So it's just a process, man. It just for me, it's just to gain my strength back. That's what I'm missing the most.
In terms of stamina, where are you at? Like, are you having to take multiple naps a day, or what is that like for you?
I do it just because I want to rest. I don't want to overexert my body.
Right.
I don't feel tired, but I know I'm not in the shape that I need to be. I'm in shape enough to coach,
I was going to ask that.
stuff like that. Yeah, I'm in shape enough to coach, but just like running around and stuff like that, nah, I can't
So
do
you
that.
are
So,
going to be, are you going to be able to do all the same things coaching wise that you did last year before all this?
oh yeah, I'll be fine to coach. If anything, I'll have an assistant to help show examples or stuff like that. If I'm not feeling up to it or something like that, but I don't foresee that happening. I mean, we still got like another month before the season starts. That's just another month for me to get healthy and more shape. So, looking forward to
What did they tell you about the long-term prognosis for the transplant?
that. Nothing. I mean, all my tests, all my biopsies, everything has been coming up clear. No signs of rejection. um, it's just take it day by day. Just like it's not much of a change for me. Like I said, because my food, my diet hasn't changed much. Like I said, I just cut out the alcohol and just keep it moving.
And how are the kids now and your wife now? And like, you know, how has that been for them? Just basically seeing you become good again.
Um, my wife has her days. Like today's my anniversary,
Oh, wow. Happy anniversary.
and thank you. And you know, she FaceTimes me on my way to work, and she's just telling me she loves me, no, 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 and then she starts crying. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? And she was just thinking about the hospital, me laid up in the hospital, and telling me she can't lose me and stuff like that. So it still lingers with her. My other my two kids that are home with me right now, they know that daddy's not Superman now, so they like to mess with me a little bit more. You know me, I've always been a jovial type person. I like to joke around a lot, play pranks, and I've done that to my kids a lot. I think for me, it's gotten worse it's because I appreciate them, so I start to mess with them a lot more. I think I get on their nerves more than anything, but they're doing well.
Good.
They're a lot better than they were doing. I'll tell you that.
And what are they doing? Are they involved in sports?
Well, they just came off a summer break. They went to San Antonio to visit some family for a while, so they had a little break from sports or school. My daughter's going to be playing volleyball, and my son's going to be playing basketball coming up. So I'm excited to see them play.
That's awesome. That's got to be must have been a hell of a Father's Day for you this year.
To say the least, yes,
Yeah.
It was very special.
And the other part of it too is, and we were talking about this before we started, is just your wife has started the GoFundMe account. And I always say this, like in following you guys on social media and all that, you can tell the special relationship that you guys have. But she started the GoFundMe account. And I think there's this assumption by people who, that you guys get covered for everything by the NFL, the NFL insurance and all that. And it's not like that, correct? I mean, like how long, what's the situation with insurance that it runs out for you guys, and doesn't it?
After I think 5 years after you retire, your insurance goes away. So I'm under my work insurance at IMG right now, and the bad thing about it, I'm looking at about $250,000 worth of medical bills, even though I had insurance.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the worst part about it, I guess.
I mean, that's severe. I don't know how that's a tough road to go. So how do you navigate that?
Best I can, the GoFundMe account helped, but that's done and gone, and just gotta figure out a way to take care of these bills. I wasn't a first round draft pick in the NFL, so the money I made got me a head start on life, but it wasn't Champ Bailey or LeVar Arrington or Chris Samuels. You know what I mean?
But the one thing, like I think, again, knowing you and having covered you, first of all, you are right about the jokester stuff. Because what I always remember is every Wednesday, Jason Campbell on the stairs talking to the media, and you're coming down behind him, kind of flicking his ear or doing something to him. Yeah. So if you're doing that,
nobody was safe.
No, they weren't. And if you're doing that to your kids, I can appreciate that, because my goal as a dad was always to annoy them. So that's part of the dad's job. But you saw that there. But I also know, like, your story and just, in just how you had to work to to get to the league, to stay in the league. And that mindset, I would assume, like, that mindset just probably never goes away, does it?
No, it's in me. I mean, it's been instilled in me. My dad's ex-military since I could remember. That's what has been instilled in me. And it just is what it is. And I couldn't see it any other way. I couldn't see myself giving up. I couldn't do that. I couldn't let my kids see me like that. We were a positive family. We always preach positivity and being strong-minded and strong-willed and all that good stuff. And I couldn't let my kids see anything different.
How do you look back on your career?
A career that I wasn't supposed to have. I mean, for a guy that didn't go to college, I think I had a pretty great career, to be honest with you. Made a Pro Bowl. I was a 6 or 7 time first alternate. You tell me.
I think it's phenomenal.
Of course, you always wish you could have did more and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm happy with how life turned out for me. I've enjoyed my days. I miss my days in Washington. Those are days you never forget.
No, and trust me when I say, like, it was a really good, first of all, I think anybody who lasts in this league at all has had a good career, right? Because it's very, very tough. And to last as long as you did, it takes a lot, especially because, like, there's certain positions where you never quite feel as secure as you need to be, despite how good you might be. Do you know what I mean? And it's such a hard league to stay. You had 2 runs here.
Yeah, 2. After getting in trouble.
Right, that's right. Yeah. How do you look, like, playing for Gibbs? What was that like?
That man changed my life.
How?
The type of person he is. In the NFL, it's hard to believe a coach when he tells you something. That's one thing I've learned over the 6 or 7 coaches I've had in Washington. That's one thing that I've learned. It's hard to trust what coaches tell you. But that man, anything and everything that man has ever told me has been the truth. And he sent me a video while I was in the hospital.
Really?
Sending me prayers and all that stuff. And Man, he's just a great man. I'd run through a brick wall any day for him. Right now, if I could, I would run through a brick wall.
Yeah, no, he's had that effect on a lot of people, and I know during the GoFundMe he was a big donator to that as well. But yeah, and I'm not surprised to hear that. And then you were with Mike Shanahan in that group for a couple of years. What do you remember about like some of those coaches, and whether it was, you look at McVay, LaFleur, and Kyle, like those guys are ascending guys or top coaches in this profession. Any surprise to you?
A few of them, no. There's a few I won't say. I think that were coddled. I won't say any names, but everybody knew that there was a few guys on that coaching staff that were going to go far, and Sean was one of them.
What was it about Sean? What do you remember early on about him that told you that?
His knowledge of the game and how he delivered it. And how he talked to you as a person. He never looked down on you, never talked down to you. Just the way he was, it was infectious, and just the way you can sit and talk football with him all day long. And I mean, he's just so excited, and I mean, it was great. I mean, I had him my last year. I think he was my coach my last year in the league, and we had a great time.
Because he was like in his early 20s at that time when you had him.
Oh, yeah, he was just a baby.
Yeah. So yeah. Do you have any good any McVay stories that that from that time when you remember or anything, like any fun story?
No, he was pretty chill guy, man. Just we came to work and we worked. We had our jokes, did our thing. But Sean, he's always just an even tempered type guy. He just went about his business.
Yeah, he was always someone that you never, I never covering him at that time. I never looked at him as some 23-year-old coach. It was a guy that like, this guy's going to go somewhere because he just felt, older than his years, I guess. So.
Yeah, he's an old soul. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So, how do you view the future now for yourself? Like, how did this whole experience change you, or did it?
Well. Yeah. Oh, yes. It's changed me a lot in so many ways. I don't take things for granted anymore, which I didn't realize I was until I got sick. Time playing with my kids, just going to Home Depot with my wife, stuff like that. I just, stuff that would make her happy. I didn't really do that type of stuff. Now that I know I'm not invincible, oh, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I'm a little more thoughtful of stuff and of people. But for me, I'm just, man, I just want to live a stress-free life. That's all,
Well, I'm glad to see that you're doing well and that you sound really good. And I know a lot of people, like I heard from a lot of people, and I talked to a lot of people during that time just to get updates on you. So it was really nice to see for a lot of people outside here, Mike, just how happy they were to see you on that road to recovery. So all those people in Florida, you had thousands and thousands more outside there who were cheering for you. Just so I hope you understand that and realize that.
One thing I do want to say is the people that are listening or whatever, I appreciate all the phone calls and all the text messages. There were far too many to get back to everybody, but my phone hadn't been turned on for months. So for me to turn on my phone when I, woke up or came out of my slumber, I was just like, my phone just didn't stop beeping, like keep going, like another message. And I was in shock.
I mean, I'm glad that it was like that. I'm not surprised because, like I said, I know I heard from a lot of people asking about you. So a lot of people out there really cared. So it's good to catch up with you. And I did, and I want to make sure that, because I make sure you're okay and doing all right, so that way people can see like this is where you're at now. And so it's been really good to talk to you.
I appreciate it, man. Really do.
Thanks, Mike.
You got it, buddy.
That's it for this episode. Thanks to Mike for joining me, and thank you as always for tuning in. I'll be back later in the week, probably Wednesday or Thursday morning, with another episode as we inch closer and closer to the start of training camp. In fact, the rookies report on the 18th. I'll talk to you next time.